Hey guys, it's Jezza here, and today we are doing the round 14 tipping video. We've got Collingwood and Port Adelaide in the background here. I couldn't really find another sort of more closer sort of game. Maybe Sydney and Essendon, but I haven't really done a game at a Melbourne stadium in a while, so I was pretty keen to do that. So yeah, starting off, we've got Thursday's game. Also, I was 1 point off the margin last week. I tipped West Coast by 12 and they won by 13, so that was pretty good. So this week I'm going to tip Adelaide by 61 points. They beat the Saints by 57 on the Friday a couple of weeks ago, and they're probably a lot more than 4 points sort of less than the Saints, the Hawks, but I don't really think they're going to beat them by like 150, 100 like people have been saying. I'm going to go 61 points. Still be a pretty bad beating for the Hawks, but I don't think it'll be as bad as some people are saying. Then Friday night, a really big game. It's between Sydney and Essendon. So at the moment, Essendon just in the 8 by percentage over the Dogs and the Saints, and Freo actually as well. And then the Swans are 1 game behind on 5 wins. So the Swans win this. They obviously are on even wins with the Bombers, and they probably won't be in the 8. I'd say 6 wins at the end of this round won't be enough to get in the 8, because really only one of the Saints, the Bombers, the Dogs and Freo have to win for the 8 to be 7 wins. So that will more than likely happen. But this one, Sydney at home, they haven't been too good there this year, obviously losing to Collingwood and Hawthorn, but I'm going to give it to them this week. They've been in really good form lately. They look like they probably could still make the 8 this year, which is a bit annoying. I was kind of hoping it was going to be it for them like it is Hawthorn, but it seems like they've found their mojo back a little bit. And I mean, yeah, if you took the Hawthorn game out of equations, if they had won that, they'd actually be in the 8 at the moment. So anyway, I'm going to tip the Swans by 21 points there. And then on Saturday afternoon, we've got the game of the round. In my opinion, I'm calling it. That's obviously, what I do. That's why I put the game in the background. I'm going to tip. It's actually a tough one. The Power in 4th, but they actually haven't beaten a team that is in the top 8 currently at all. They've beaten Freo, Brisbane, Hawthorn, North, just all the bottom teams, as well as beating Fremantle in 11th. So I don't know. The Pies are pretty good at the G. Obviously had the bye last week. The week before that, they lost to the D's in a really close one. So they'll be pretty eager to get a win. And yeah, you know what? I'm gonna tip them today. I'm gonna say that the Pies win by 10 points in a really good close game. Probably going to be game of the round, like I said. Then Saturday twilights, Brisbane and GWS. Now Brisbane, they've been pretty resilient over the last 2 weeks. Obviously had that good win against Fremantle, and then held up pretty well for probably 3 quarters last week, and then sort of just the class from Port Adelaide, or not really the class, just the just a bit more skill sort of just showed up in the last quarter and got the Power over the line for 40 points. But the Lions were very persistent. They didn't give up, and they definitely didn't lie down. So but yeah, the Giants are obviously very good, and they didn't play last week, I don't think. No, they had the bye-in obviously before that loss to Carlton, so they'll be very keen for a win. Obviously away again this week, 2nd time in a row, but they'll be right. And I'm going to tip the Giants by 47 points. But hopefully for Brisbane's sake, they keep it nice and close. Then the Dogs and the Kangaroos in a very important game for both sides. Dogs not quite fighting for their season, but like kinda, yeah. They wouldn't want to be going 6 and 7 if they're really pushing to not just make up the numbers and be sort of 7th or 8th. I mean, even though they did win it from 7th last year, realistically they're not going to win the flag this year. I think that's pretty evident. So they'd really want to win and win well on the weekend. But North, on the other hand, 16th. I think they're 4 and 8. They're pretty desperate for a win as well. 5 wins puts them still roughly up there. They wouldn't quite be obviously a great chance to finish in the 8, but with 5 and 8, you're still a decent-ish chance to make the 8 if you're playing some good footy for the rest of the year. So I'm gonna go with the Dogs to get their season back on track a little bit, and I'm gonna say they win by 17 points in a pretty average game like we saw. Actually, yeah, the Saints beat them by 17 points too, I believe. So yeah, pretty dead rubber game like that as well, where it's kind of the Dogs in front all day. But hopefully it's a bit more exciting. Then West Coast and Melbourne on Saturday night at Domain. West Coast are very strong there. Obviously, they proved that last week against against the Cats. So, as much as I've really enjoyed Melbourne's footy over the last couple of weeks, close win against Collingwood, which the umpires probably had a bit to do with that one, if we're being honest. But still a good win nonetheless to come back from where they were. And then last week they just absolutely smashed the Dogs, who just looking all sorts at the moment. So they're sitting fifth at the moment, Melbourne. But I don't know if that properly reflects them. Could get Gorn back this week. Obviously Nathan Jones out for 6 weeks. So yeah, I'm just going to say that West Coast are just going to prove too strong in this game. They're going to win by 22 points. If it was at the G, I'd probably tip Melbourne, but up there, they don't lose too many up there, West Coast. Then Sunday, we've got Geelong and Fremantle, and that's at Simmons. Freo have been not playing very good footy lately either, so Geelong wouldn't be happy with last week's performance either. Only lost by 13 points, but it was a lot more for the main part of the game. They sort of just kicked a couple of late ones. So yeah, the Cats are going to win there by 16 points. Actually, did I give a margin for West Coast Melbourne game? I don't know if I did, so I'll say... Oh no, I did, yeah. But actually for this one, I'm going to go a bit higher. I'm going to say 32 points. And then Richmond and Carlton played earlier this year in round 1. I think Richmond won by about 40 odd points. But Carlton have been playing really good for the last couple of weeks. They're not going to lie down. But yeah, Richmond obviously the better side there, so I'm going to tip them by 27 points. And then lastly, it is Sunday twilight between the Saints and the Suns. Suns obviously lost a very winnable game last week against the Blues at home. They'd be pretty disappointed. Gary Albert's 300th, a lot of reasons for them to get up and have a win. But I think the Saints also are very desperate for a win. They wouldn't want to be going 6 and 7. 7 and 6 would be ideal. Probably put them in the 8 if they can have a good percentage boosting win. So yeah, I'm going to tip the Saints. Didn't play the best last week, but I don't normally tip against my own side, especially in a game like this where they are heavy favourites. I'm going to tip the Saints by 26 points. So yeah, that's all for this week. Let me know how rate my tips in the comments. Tell me how many of mine you think are going to be right, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.